Hello, I am Xarkun. This is World of Warships Legends. On the screen here you see my build for French Destroyer Commander Louis Violet. Got a level 16 Gurren and level 14 Bay inspiring him. He's built for speed, built for reload time, and built for range with sidestep there in the fourth row of skills. I'm using him on the new Tier 5 French destroyer Guépard. And I hope I'm saying that right. I believe it's Guépard. That is French for cheetah. And this is a pretty quick destroyer. Gonna go over some stats as this game sort of plays in the background and maybe call some of the shots as they happen on the game. I just want to get right into it, starting off with the most obvious stat, hit points. This thing's got 17,200 hit points, not modified by any kind of commander build whatsoever. That makes it the second highest hit points at the tier behind the Gaeta, which has 17,800 hit points. The Guépard also has 5 guns, 139mm in size, which makes them the second largest guns for a destroyer at the tier, also behind the Gaeta. They range out to 11.2 kilometers on my build, which is only beaten by the Tier 5 Russian destroyer Gnevny across my builds. 5.6 second reload time. That's beaten, of course, by many of the destroyers with smaller guns, particularly the American Mayhan. But this ship comes with a main battery reload booster, which decreases the reload time of the main guns by 50% for a duration of 15 seconds, which effectively for 15 seconds gives it a reload of 2.8 seconds, allowing it to fire faster than the Mayhan. Now the turrets do turn pretty slowly, 22.5 second 180 degree turn time, which is very slow. Only the Gnevny is actually worse than that at the tier. You can see there we're firing another Guépard there, and we are taking him down. These guns do pack a punch against enemy destroyers. They do a maximum of 2,000 HE shell damage with a 9% chance to start a fire. That max damage, by the way, again, is only beaten by the Gaeta, and the fire chance of 9% is only beaten by the Gaeta across my builds. Unfortunately, we're not going to get to use these guns too much against enemy destroyers in this game. I think that's the only one we're actually going to fire at, but trust me, they are powerful. The AP does a maximum of 2,600 damage, which is kind of the reason I have Gurren on Violet as an inspiration. The AP, of course, is effective against broadside cruisers. It can chew into the superstructure of broadside battleships, and when you get citadels with this AP on the broadside cruisers, it hits them extremely hard. I think I hit a Shores in one of the games that I played in this ship for like 6 or 7k, and I absolutely obliterated an Aoba. Took him out, took 15,000 of his hit points in the span of a couple of seconds with that reload booster. And yeah, it's pretty effective, although I don't know if I'm going to keep Gurren on there. Now, the torpedoes, since we're launching them, it comes with 6 torpedoes. They have a 90-second reload time, which is fine. It's on par with some other destroyers at the tier. Kind of slow. But they do a maximum of 18,400 damage, which makes them the hardest hitting torpedoes at the tier, beating out even the Fubuki by about 2,000 points of damage. And you see, we catch that Emile Bertin with 2 of them. He goes down for a devastating strike. First kill of the match. The torpedoes also, by the way, pretty stealthy. 1.2 kilometer detectability by sea, which makes them one of the stealthiest at the tier. They have a 7 kilometer range, which is pretty short. Only the Mayhan and the Gnevny actually have a shorter range at the tier. But you can fire them from stealth, You just don't have a very big window to do that. They are not super fast, but they're also not slow. On this game in particular, I don't have the torpedo upgrade installed, so they only go at 61 knots. With that torpedo upgrade installed, they go at 63 knots, and the reload time is reduced by 3 seconds, 87 seconds instead of 90. I think you can get that down if you want to build for torpedoes with the other French destroyer, not Violette. His name escapes me at the moment. This ship is also pretty quick, 38.2 knot max speed. Only the Russian Tier 5 Gonevny is faster. It's got a 680 meter turning circle, which is fairly large, and 4.8 second rudder shift time on my build. That's one of the slower rudder shifts at the tier, but that's partly due to my commander choices. Again, though, we're about to get a devastating strike on a cruiser with those torpedoes. Oh, never mind. It wasn't a devastating strike, but we did hit that Graf Spee very hard for almost all of his hit points, and for whatever reason, he can't stop the flooding, so he goes down, and actually we do get awarded the devastating strike for that kill, so I wasn't wrong. Concealment on this thing, 6.3 kilometers, second worst at the tier behind the Gonevny. So not super stealthy, and it's worse than that if you don't have Eric Bay inspiring the build. But what else to say about this little boat? You know, I've been excited for these French destroyers to come. I thought that I would like them, and so far I am liking them quite a bit. They're very quick. Their torpedoes seem to hit pretty hard, and they are usable. The biggest piece of advice I think I would give you, if you're interested in looking into this line, but you're concerned about the fact that none of these destroyers come with smoke screens, because none of them appear to come with smoke screens at all. So what do you do if you don't have a smoke screen? Well, best piece of advice I can give you is know exactly, before you take the ship out, what your detectability range is. So in this case, 6.3 kilometers. And, you know, decide for yourself how close you are able, or how close you're comfortable in getting to an enemy ship before turning around and breaking contact. Because you have no way to break contact if you are spotted by an enemy ship, except by sailing out of your detectability range. So you got to be very careful with these. If you get caught, you can get killed pretty easily, and you can't disengage with the use of a smokescreen. That being said, though, the range of the guns on this ship, and probably most of the other destroyers in this line, with the Violette build and sidestep, do definitely make it a viable gunboat. The shells seem to have pretty flat arcs, almost Soviet flat arcs, and so they're pretty easy to aim, even at range. And of course, if you are at range, you are pretty quick. And even though the rudder shift on this build isn't fantastic, actually it's kind of bad, you are still able to pretty effectively dodge incoming fire from enemy ships, provided you stay at range. And when I say at range, I mean like 8 kilometers or more away from the ship. That's going to give you the easiest time to dodge incoming salvos. But as this game has been a demonstration of, these are also pretty effective torpedo boats. You just have to be quite careful. You're going to want to look at that blue ring around your ship in the mini-map in the upper left-hand corner to see how close you are to enemy ships being detected. The reload booster, I think I deployed it against one of those battleships there, but you catch an enemy destroyer. It's giving you a good angle to shoot. You know, you can hit the shot, pop that thing. Suddenly you fire faster than an American destroyer, and you can chew through an enemy destroyer's hit points like nobody's business. The same is true if you find yourself facing a broadside enemy cruiser at the appropriate range, say inside of 6 kilometers or so. Find one of those at that range, pop that reload booster. Oh boy, you are going to be scoring citadels left and right, and you're probably going to take that cruiser down before he even knows what hit him. Although that's a bit of a high-risk play, you probably don't want to get close enough to cruisers to make that a thing, which again is why I'm questioning the wisdom of my own build here. Build's always a work in progress for me. Launch some torpedoes at those 2 battleships out there. It looks like some of them are going to hit. In fact, we take one of the battleships down, and that just leaves one guy left. He's going to die, and the match is going to end. We're not going to do a whole lot more damage here. I think we're going to finish with 97k or something. But there is, a look at the Guépard there, and I actually do have the Tier 3 and Tier 4 French destroyers. I don't have the Tier 6 yet. I'm hoping to probably get that here in the future, and we'll take a look at probably some of those moving forward. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. If so, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already done that. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. Goodbye.